I'm Miss Orange. I've been interested in exploring ways on how to help everyone, especially our students, to learn how to manage their money and make informed choices about their personal finances. In this video, we will learn more about financial knowledge and decision-making skills. This knowledge is more important to help build financial capability. What exactly is an informed financial decision? What makes a financial decision right for our situation, and how do we learn to make good decisions? Each day, we are faced with many decisions. While most decisions are simple, such as what should I wear or what should I eat, others are more complex, such as should I buy a used or new car? Because as we get older, our financial decisions become more complex as well. It's no longer about saving your allowance to buy a tree. It can be hard for us to make the right financial decisions to help meet our short and long-term financial goals. Some people think financial decision-making relates mostly to long-term saving like planning your retirement, but there's more to it than that. We're talking about comparison shopping, weighing one purchase over another, deciding when to buy something now or wait for a sale, how to buy it, take out a loan or pay cash, and how to protect your assets. What types of insurance do I need now? Let's explore more about the financial knowledge and decision-making skills. As decision-making skills are used and improved, a person's quality of life is enhanced, and wiser choices result in better use of time, money, and other resources. This introductory lesson provides students with an opportunity to learn more about decision-making. The lesson starts with an overview of the decision-making process, followed by a discussion of various internal and external factors that affect decisions. People are usually not aware of economic influences that can affect decision-making. These economic factors include inflation, interest rates, and the unemployment rate. Also, common risks associated with decision-making are often not considered. Students should also be aware of opportunity cost, what a person gives up when a decision is made. Finally, the lesson concludes with strategies for analyzing the results of decision-making. Students are encouraged to consider their experiences in an effort to improve the quality of future decisions. At the end of the lesson, our goals are the following: provide an understanding and an awareness of the factors that can influence decisions. Another is to introduce basic decision-making methodologies. And last but not least, provide a structured practice in analyzing problem, identifying options, and making a decision. Now, what are our lesson's objectives? Number 1, identify decisions. Number 2, identify the steps in the decision-making process. Number 3, identify and explain factors that can affect the decision-making process and give examples of decisions that have been influenced by one or more of these factors. Number 4, identify and explain frequently used decision-making strategies and give examples of when these strategies have been used. Number 5, Analyze influences of the economic conditions on personal and financial decisions. 6. Identify risk, opportunity, cost associated with personal and financial decisions. And finally, practice making decisions using a decision-making diagram. Whether you're making breakfast or deciding what to wear in the morning, your brain is making upward of, would you believe, 35,000 decisions each a day. Now, this is according to Eva Kuho, lecturer at the University of Leicester in the United Kingdom. So, every decision that you make, whether simple or complex, is part of the decision-making process. Now, what is the decision-making process? Decision-making is the process of making choices by identifying a decision, gathering information, and assessing alternative resolutions. Of course, in any decision-making process, the first thing that you need to do is to identify what the problem is or what your goal is. So say, for example, after you graduate from high school, do you still want to live with your parents? Do you want to live on your own? Or do you want to live with your friends or cousins or relatives? So this is a very important matter that you have to have a solution. After identifying what the problem is, the next course of action is to obtain information and think about possible courses of action or possible alternatives, meaning solution to your problem. So referring to the problem we discussed in number 1, which is you're deciding where to live, no? So you can still decide to live at home, still with your parents, or if you can pay this, or if your parents can support you on this, you may rent an apartment. Or probably you would like to live alone, so you would be more independent in choosing, or in deciding for your own life. Or you can share an apartment probably with your friend, or you can live with your relatives, such as your tita, o kaya naman your cousins. The next thing that you need to do is to consider the consequences of each choice or course of action and evaluate the alternatives. So say, for example, you decide to live on your own. You have to evaluate the pros and the cons. Or if you're going to rent an apartment, definitely your parents will not be there for your food. You have to shop, you have to go to the market, you have to leave the house, you have to pay the bills, etc., etc. If you're going to live alone, you would want to have that independence. So what does it entail? And then if you're going to share an apartment with anyone, you definitely have to share the space with them, so you can be noisy at the middle of the night. You can't just open the refrigerator, or you can't just play loud music simply because you're sharing the space with someone else. Or if you're going to live with your friends or probably your relatives, definitely there are pros and cons that you need to consider. After weighing your options and after evaluating all the pros and all the cons, of course, the next thing that you need to do is number 4, select the best course of action, or among all those options, which one is the best for you. And then finally, you evaluate the results of that best option that you decided on or that you choose. Again, let's have a recap. The decision-making process involves the following steps. Step number 1, you identify the problem or your goal. Number 2, obtain information and think about the possible courses of action or possible alternatives. Number 3, consider the consequences of each choice or action and evaluate the alternatives. And number 4, select the best course of action for you. And then finally, number 5, after choosing that option, evaluate the results. Now, before we go to the next part of our lesson, I'd like to find out what are you trying to decide on. Definitely, pag iba-ibang groups, no, age groups, they are making different types of decisions. So, say for example, if you are a teenager, probably you would want to decide on what strand to take in senior high school. So some of you probably would want to be in ABM or STEM or UMS, GA, ICT, or HE, or probably you are deciding to save some money and how much to save every week. Or since summer is coming, you probably would like to get a part-time job to support your wants or your needs. Now, for young adults, these are the things, no, that are boggling their mind. So they would like to buy a car, or whether they would like to save more money, or probably if they could move away from home. And if you are an adult and you have established yourself, no, probably you would like to decide on purchasing your own house or save more money in your bank account to prepare for your future, or if you'd like to travel in another country, or you'd like to change careers from this career to another one, or when you get older, to select, a retirement location. So you want to stay with your family, or you'd like to stay in a retirement home. Now, I would like you to use the decision-making process sheet that I uploaded together with this lesson to arrive at a possible solution for one of the decisions on that list. If you have any questions, please send me a private comment and I'll try to address your question as fast as I can. When you're making a decision, what are the factors that usually affect your decision? So the first thing that we're going to discuss is the factors that can influence somebody's decision. So the first one is values. So when we say values, definitely all of us, we have our set of principles or the values that we live by. So when we say values, what is important to your family or others in your culture? So another thing is peers. So who are your peers? So these are the people you know. So the pressure that they are giving can be positive or can be negative effect, or it has negative effect. They have negative effect to your behavior. Next is habits. So what are habits? Habits are the things that you are accustomed to doing it and this way. So probably when you wake up in the morning, so every time you answer your assignment or every time you do something, there's a manner on how you do them. Now next is your feelings. So probably love or anger, frustration, ambivalence, or rejection. So if you do make a certain prompted not to do or to do this because it's your family preference. Or the other members of your family probably have made this decision and you pattern your decision after that family member's decision. Now, another thing is you are weighing the risk and the consequences of this option or that decision. So what or how much you stand to weigh the pros and the cons, or what or how much you stand to do. And then finally, the age. So usually kapag mga bata, you are mabubusok, no? So sometimes yung decision natin, when we are older, we tend to make wiser decisions. So probably it's because of all the experiences that we have gone through. No, yung mga teenagers, so sila yung very impulsive. Probably because they are acting out based on their feelings. Yan. Now, there are other factors that can affect a person's decision. Okay, number one is spontaneity. Now, when we say spontaneity, you choose the first option that comes to your mind. You are giving little or no consideration to the consequences of that choice. Now, another one is for compliance purposes. So probably you made this decision because you want to get along with your family or just to comply with a school requirement or work requirement, or probably it's because of the peer expectations. Next is a very popular influence, not just to students but to working people as well. And it is procrastination. So when we say procrastination, it's the mamaya na, bukas na lang, sa isang linggo na lang vibe. So when we say procrastination, it means that you are postponing thought and action until your options are very limited. Next is agonizing. So you are accumulating so much information that analyzing the options becomes too much overwhelming or too much painful for you. No? Next, some of us are very intentional decision makers. So when we say intentional decision makers, that means that you are choosing an option that will be both intellectually and emotionally satisfying for you. So my question is, are you an intentional decision maker? Next, if you are choosing the option that might achieve the best result regardless of the risk involved, then you are deciding based on your desire. Next is, are you like this? You are making decision by avoiding it or avoidance. So choosing the option that is most likely to avoid the worst possible result. And then, second to the last one, if you are choosing the option that will bring some success, offend the fewest people, and pose the least risk, then you are deciding based on security purposes or what makes you more secure. And last but not least is synthesis. No, choosing the option that has a good chance to succeed and which you like the best. Again, let's have a recap. Other factors that influence a person's decision. Number one could be spontaneity, compliance, procrastination, agonizing, intention, desire, avoidance, security, and synthesis. the factors I discussed a while ago, there are other factors that affect person's decision, and those are the economic factors. So there is a direct correlation, or there is a direct relationship between the economic factors and our decision making. And here are some. So the first one is consumer prices. So when we say consumer prices, these are the changes in the buying power of the peso or the inflation. So higher prices result in more expensive goods and services and lower buying power of the peso. Next one is consumer spending. So when we say consumer spending, it's demand for goods and services. Now, increases in consumer spending for certain goods and services can result in additional jobs and higher wages in those industries. Number 3 is interest rates. So when we say interest rates, the cost of borrowing money. So lower interest rates encourage consumer spending. Higher rates are likely to encourage the saving and less borrowing. Kasi nga, mababa lang yung interest eh. And then number 4, we have money supply. So money supply are funds available for spending in the economy. So a higher money supply will usually result in lower interest rates. A lower money supply will likely result in higher interest rates and reduce consumer spending. Next is number 5, unemployment. So when we say unemployment, it refers to the number of people without employment or without job, but who are willing to work. So high unemployment reduces in consumer spending kasi nga wala silang panggastos, wala silang trabaho, and results in fewer job opportunities. Next, number 6 is housing initiatives or housing starts. So this refers to the number of new homes being built. So increased home building usually leads to more job opportunities and expanded consumer spending. Number 7 economic factor is the GDP or the gross domestic product. So it is the total value of goods and services produced within a country. So a growing GDP usually indicates expanded economic growth in a country. Now, last but not least, the stock market index such as the Dow Jones Averages, Standard & Poor's 500, or it indicates the general trends in the value of the Philippine or US stocks. Now, higher stock prices usually indicates confidence in the economy and strong business conditions for jobs and consumer spending. So just imagine if there are lower stock prices, so that means the business establishment in that country or the businesses, the companies are failing big time. Now again, let's have a recap on the economic factors and decision making, or what are the economic factors that affect our decision making. So number 1 is consumer prices, number 2 consumer spending, number 3 interest rates, number 4 the money supply available in one place or in a country. Next is unemployment rate, next is housing initiatives or housing starts, next is the GDP or the gross national product, and then finally the stock market index. We are on the last part now of our topic about making decisions, and this covers the risk, or mga panganib associated with every decision. Now, the following are common risks related to personal and financial decision making. So, it could have personal risk, inflation risk, interest rate risk, income risk, and liquidity risk. Now, let's cover the first one, which talks about the personal risk. Now, these are the factors that may create a less than desirable situation. So, personal risk may be in the form of inconvenience, or probably it may cause you embarrassment now or in the future. It can cause safety risk or health concern. So in every decision making, we need to consider the personal risk na entail doon sa decision that we're making. Now, next one is inflation risk. Now, rising prices cause lower buying power for our peso. Now, buying an item later may mean a higher price. So, say for example, for today, this item cost 10,000 pesos. Eh, doon sa country na yun nagkaroon ng inflation. Because of the inflation, yung item na 10,000 pesos lang ngayon, probably in 3 months or in 6 months, it becomes or it will become 15,000. And it's because of inflation or tumaas kasi yung prices, bumaba yung buying power ng peso, kaya nagkaroon ng situation. No? Next one is the interest rate risk, or changing interest rates affect your cost when borrowing and your benefits when saving or investing. So say for example, ang interest rate sa bank ay 1.2% lang, say for example. That's why this situation encourages you to borrow money from the bank. Now, after some time, nagkaroon ng inflation, yung interest ngayon tumaas from 1.2%, it becomes 10% na. And because of the unstable economy, there's a risk in the interest rate when borrowing. So, saving and sa investing, ganun din. So, nagpa-fluctuate, sometimes it's high, sometimes it's low. So, that's why in investing your money or in saving your money, you know when is the best time to save or when is the best time to invest. Now, the fourth one is income risk. So, some of us, nag-change tayo ng job every 6 months or probably your parents or every 1 year. So, yan, palit sila ng trabaho, and there's an income risk with that. Kasi when you change jobs, or there is a reduced spending doon sa consumers, it can result in lower income or loss of one's employment. So say for example, nagtatrabaho yung parents mo sa paggawa ng noodles, wala nang bumibili ng noodles, so magbabawas sila ngayon ng employees. So nung time na lumipat kunyari yung parents mo sa company na yon, mabenta yung noodles, pero dahil hindi na mabenta yung noodles, ayan, nagtanggalan na sila ng trabaho. So anong nangyari, it's either binaba yung mga allowances doon sa company na yon, or worse, nagtanggal sila ng mga employees nila. So you have to remember na career changes or job loss can result in lower income and reduced buying power again ng peso natin. And finally, yung liquidity risk. Pag nililiquidify, ibig sabihin kino-convert yun into money. And certain types of savings, yung mga certificates of deposit and investments, yung sa real estate, mostly, may be difficult to convert to cash quickly. So these are the risks associated with decision making, and I hope you learned a lot from this lesson. So do not forget to answer the exercises attached with this lesson, and I hope that in some way this helps you know in making good decision when it comes to your finances.